Life on the Texas frontier was hard. For almost 3 centuries after the Spanish set foot in what became Texas, the land, except for 2 or 3 towns, was very sparsely populated. But with the establishment of Austin's colony, things began to change. Americans began to immigrate to Mexican Texas in large numbers, and they needed all the supplies required for daily life. Though they spread across a wide swath of central Texas, the center of commerce for these new American arrivals was the town of San Felipe. In Austin's colony, groceries were locally grown. Every house and farm had a kitchen garden that supplied vegetables and herbs for the table. Corn grew tall in the fields and was likely to show up as both vegetable and bread. Peach trees thrived in Texas, but many plants like apple trees and wheat fared poorly in the heat and humidity. Cows produced milk that was also turned into butter. Meat meant either pork or beef, and very often deer as well. Close to the Gulf of Mexico, fish and oysters were plentiful. Still, some things in the early days, like sugar and spices, were imported. With almost every farm growing cotton, homespun fabric was everywhere to be seen. Cotton from the field was carded, spun into thread on a wheel, and made into cloth on a loom before being sewn into shirts, dresses, and pants. Not everyone wore homemades all the time, though. By the late 1820s, people could buy ready-made cloth from merchants in San Felipe that they could either sew themselves or take to a tailor or seamstress. Eventually, the more well-off could order new clothes from the United States. Furniture was brought with the immigrants when they came to Texas, but some pieces were made locally. At first, they met the most basic need of a place to sit, but soon, skilled Texas cabinet and furniture makers emerged. There was a mix of Mexican pesos and American dollars in circulation, but often business was handled by bartering or trading. Many purchases were made on credit until the next cotton crop was picked. That cotton was the biggest source of income for most Texas farmers and planters. Typically, Texas cotton left the farm by wagon, but soon found its way aboard small ships. In spite of the fact that colonial Texas was part of Mexico, the busiest trade route in Austin's colony was to and from New Orleans in the United States. From there, larger ships sailed to ports along the East Coast or across the Atlantic Ocean. Thousands of bales of Texas cotton were sent to Great Britain, one of the largest manufacturers of cloth in the world. Just like today, many hands touched the economic supply chain. There were merchants, brokers, shippers, and buyers. Each of those companies wanted to make money on voyages going over and coming back, so they unloaded Texas cotton and filled the ships with goods to sell back in Texas or in the southern United States. Silver and tinware, clay pipes, bolts of fabric, and dishes. Evidence of this is still in the ground. When archaeologists dig on the site of San Felipe, they find remnants of all sorts of things. Those dishes from Great Britain provide one of the best trails to follow for tracing the commerce of the 1820s and 30s. Written records confirm that the Perry and Hunter store in San Felipe de Austin bought inexpensive English ceramics, like these blue feather-edged dishes, from importers in Philadelphia and New Orleans, and a broken soup bowl from 200 years ago can still tell us a story today. Settlers in Mexican Texas lived on the rough frontier and lacked many modern conveniences, but there is no question that their economy connected them directly to much of the world.